Your brain is changing right now. Not because you just discovered a secret scientific hack, but because your brain is constantly learning from whatever you repeat every single day. Every time you open your phone, the second you feel a little bored, you are training your brain to crave constant stimulation. Every time you imagine the worst-case scenario, you are training your mind to detect even more danger. Every time you put off a difficult task, you are reinforcing the habit of avoidance. But the exact opposite is also true. Every time you pull your focus back after getting distracted, you are training your ability to control your attention. Every time you move your body, even when you lack motivation, you are reinforcing a brand new action loop. Every time you notice a negative thought without immediately believing it, you are building a healthy gap between your emotions and your behavior. You don't need to fix or completely replace your brain. You just need to understand that mental pathways are built through use. A path that is walked on frequently becomes smooth, familiar, and automatic. A path that is left unused will slowly fade away. That is exactly why you can clearly know a habit is bad for you, yet still execute it on autopilot. It is no longer just a conscious decision. It has transformed into a well-worn superhighway in your brain. In this video, we are going to explore 5 fundamental laws that will help you build better neural pathways for calm, resilience, deep focus, and a much more satisfying life. Not by pretending that everything is fine, not with temporary dopamine hacks, but by understanding how your brain actually adapts through a process called neuroplasticity, and feeding it the exact experiences worth reinforcing. Law number 1. What you repeat gets reinforced. Your brain learns through repetition. The more often a response is used, the easier it becomes your default reaction. Imagine walking through a field of tall, overgrown grass. The very first time, the path is rough. You have to push the grass aside and watch every single step. But if you walk that exact same route every day, a clear trail begins to form. Eventually, you can walk down that path almost without thinking. Your mental habits operate in the exact same way. When you constantly worry about the future, check your phone, criticize yourself, or react in anger, those responses become effortless. Not necessarily because they are right, but simply because they have been rehearsed over and over again. The good news is, you can just as easily rehearse pausing before you react, getting back to the task at hand, moving your body when your mood feels sluggish, or consciously appreciating positive moments. There is a critical truth you must remember. Your brain doesn't just reinforce good behavior, it reinforces repeated behavior. You can become incredibly skilled at worrying, procrastinating, complaining, or expecting the worst. This doesn't mean you are consciously choosing to be unhappy. It simply means certain patterns have been practiced for so long that they fire before you even have time to think. For example, you get a short email from your boss that says, "We need to talk tomorrow." Your mind instantly triggers a chain reaction. What did I do wrong? Am I getting fired? Everything is about to fall apart. If you habitually react this way, your brain learns that uncertainty always equals danger. A new response you can practice is telling yourself, "I notice my mind is predicting the worst-case scenario. The only fact right now is that we have a conversation tomorrow. I will gather the necessary information and then get back to my work." You don't need to feel completely calm right away. You just need to repeat a more balanced response. To build a new neural pathway, your actions must follow a simple rule. Keep it small, but frequent. Instead of setting a goal to meditate for 30 minutes a day, start by observing 3 natural breaths right after you brush your teeth in the morning. Instead of promising to never have negative thoughts again, start by replacing one self-insult with an objective, factual description whenever you catch yourself. Your brain doesn't magically become what you wish for. It becomes exceptionally good at whatever you repeatedly practice. Law number 2. What you pay attention to becomes easier to notice. Your attention doesn't just reflect the world around you. It actively decides which parts of the world your mind prioritizes and processes. Every single second, your environment floods you with far more data than your brain could ever fully absorb. So, your brain must constantly filter what is important, what is dangerous, and what is relevant to your current goals. Whatever you actively look for becomes incredibly easy to spot. If every day you ask yourself, who is doing better than me? What is going wrong? Why is life so unfair? Your mind will turn into a highly efficient machine for gathering evidence to answer those questions. Our evolutionary ability to quickly spot danger once kept our ancestors alive. But in the modern world, this threat detection system gets triggered constantly by news headlines, notifications, social media comparison, and problems that haven't even happened yet. Our goal isn't to blind ourselves to real risks. Our goal is to stop allowing risks to be the only thing our mind is trained to see. Neuroscience research shows that consciously practicing gratitude can actually increase your neural sensitivity to positive experiences over time. Remember, gratitude does not mean denying hardship or tolerating unfairness. Gratitude is simply the ability to recognize this situation is genuinely difficult, but this difficulty is not the only thing existing in my life right now. Try the 3 evidences exercise every evening. Write down one thing that went slightly better than expected, one kind act you either gave or received, and one situation you handled with more maturity than you used to. This exercise doesn't force you to label a terrible day as a perfect one. It simply stops your brain from deleting all the positive evidence. Alongside this, apply the 20-second recognition rule. When something good happens, like a friend sending a check-in text or finishing a tough task, don't instantly rush to the next item on your to-do list. Pause for 10 to 20 seconds to truly let that feeling of relief, peace, or accomplishment sink in. You don't see everything that exists. You see more of what your mind has been trained to look for. Law number 3. Moving your body primes your brain for change. You cannot completely separate your mind from your body. Your physical state directly impacts your attention, your energy levels, your stress, your sleep, and how you perceive any problem in front of you. Research shows that moderate physical exercise supports hippocampal volume, improves memory, and boosts the biological factors that promote neuroplasticity. The impact of movement isn't just about releasing a quick flood of happy hormones. It resets your nervous system's arousal state, regulates your sleep cycle, breaks the loop of obsessive overthinking, and generates a tangible sense of accomplishment. When you feel sluggish, unfocused, or unmotivated, don't immediately conclude that you are just having a bad day. Apply a simple rule. Move before you conclude. If you have been staring at a screen for 3 hours straight, a minor problem can suddenly look like an insurmountable wall. Your mind starts whispering, "I am not smart enough. This project is going to fail." But chances are, you are just evaluating that problem using an exhausted brain trapped inside a stagnant body. Stand up, go for a brisk 10-minute walk, drink a glass of water, and then come back. The problem is still sitting there, but the biological state you bring to solving it has completely upgraded. Structure your movement into 3 realistic levels. The 2-minute level for terrible days. Simply stand up, walk around the room, and stretch your shoulders to break physical stagnation. The 10-minute level to intentionally shift your emotional state when you feel stuck. And the long-term level, maintaining a consistent, sustainable weekly routine. When your mind feels trapped, don't just try to think harder. Sometimes you have to move your body first. Law number 4. Sleep locks in what you practice. Real change doesn't only happen while you are actively putting in the effort. A massive part of neural reorganization takes place during recovery. Science confirms that sleep plays a foundational role in processing and consolidating your memories and neural firing patterns. When you chronically cut your sleep short or suffer from fragmented sleep, your attention, judgment, emotional regulation, and impulse control all degrade significantly. There is a common paradox. Many people desperately want to upgrade their minds, so they consume more content, try to learn more skills, and stay up late working. Yet they sacrifice the exact biological mechanism that allows the brain to store and integrate what they just learned. Sleep. If you stay up studying until 1 in the morning, the next day you will feel irritable, struggle to focus, and rely heavily on caffeine. You blame yourself for lacking discipline, but in reality, your system is starving for recovery. To protect your sleep, start with a simple anchor. Wake up at roughly the same time every single day, and build a closing ritual 30 to 60 minutes before you go to bed. Step 1. Reduce stimulating inputs and stop infinite scrolling. Step 2. Write down unfinished tasks or lingering worries on a piece of paper so your mind doesn't have to keep rehearsing them. Step 3. Review one lesson, one good moment, or one situation you handled well that day. Step 4. Trigger relaxation cues, like dimming the lights, reading a physical book, or taking slow, deep breaths. End your day with an intentional statement. The one thing I want my brain to store today is, for example, I want to remember that I took action even when I didn't feel ready, or that a single mistake doesn't define who I am. You don't just rewire your brain while you are working. You have to give it the quiet space to process what you practiced. Law number 5. Your brain is regulated through connection. Human beings were never designed to self-regulate every heavy emotion in total isolation. Safe, supportive relationships deeply influence your nervous system's stress response, motivation, and resilience. Research shows that chronic social isolation is directly linked to increased systemic inflammation and elevated stress hormones. When someone feels isolated for a long time, their brain tends to become hypersensitive to signs of rejection. They start interpreting a neutral tone of voice or a delayed text message as abandonment. The mind tries to protect them by avoiding social contact, which leads to fewer opportunities for positive connection, making the loop of isolation even stronger. To break this loop, you don't need hundreds of friends or flawless relationships. You just need quality of connection. That means a space where you can speak without being defensive, where your boundaries are respected, and where you feel more grounded after the interaction. Set a simple rule. Initiate one meaningful connection every day or every week. Reach out to check on someone, share a meal without staring at your phones, or explicitly thank someone for something they did. When you converse, apply the quality listening formula. Put your phone away. Ask specific questions like, what drained your energy the most this week? Listen without interrupting, and validate their feelings before offering advice. Additionally, actively helping others within healthy boundaries is one of the most powerful ways to generate meaning and connection for your brain. Your brain doesn't just change through what you think about in isolation. It learns from how you are treated and how you treat other people. When you combine these 5 laws, you gain a deeply effective reprogramming system. Repetition decides which pathway gets reinforced. Attention decides what data gets prioritized. Movement primes your physical state for change. Sleep locks in what you experienced. And connection regulates your nervous system. Look at the difference when you make a mistake at work. Under the old model, you focus entirely on the error. Repeat the phrase, "I always ruin everything." Sit motionless in anxiety for hours. Stay up late, self-punishing, and isolate yourself. All 5 laws are working to reinforce helplessness. Under the new model, You acknowledge the mistake alongside what you actually did right. Take a 10-minute walk to clear your head. Write out a fix-it plan. Go to sleep on time, and talk to a trusted colleague for advice. The mistake is still there, but it is no longer being used to construct an identity of failure. You can put this entire system into practice with just 15 minutes a day. Spend the first 3 minutes directing your attention by writing down one thing that went well or held meaning. Spend the next 7 minutes moving your body. Go for a brisk walk or do some light stretching. Spend 2 minutes practicing a new response, replacing a self-critical thought with an objective, realistic perspective. Spend 2 minutes connecting. Send a genuine message of appreciation or check in on someone you care about. And spend the final minute prepping for recovery by writing down your most important task for tomorrow. Then, officially closing your workday. The goal isn't to force a massive burst of euphoria after 15 minutes. The goal is simply to feed your brain a steady collection of experiences worth repeating. On this journey, watch out for 5 common traps. Don't expect your brain to completely rewire itself overnight. Don't turn neuroplasticity into an empty buzzword or believe that every effort must yield instant, dramatic results. Don't fall for extreme, misunderstood dopamine detoxes. Dopamine is a vital neurotransmitter for motivation and learning, not a poison you need to eliminate. Don't force yourself into toxic positivity. Heavy emotions like sadness or anger always carry important data about your life and your boundaries. And most importantly, never use online self-help content to replace professional medical or psychological support when you are dealing with severe, persistent mental health challenges. To lock this entire system into your mind, remember this simple 5-step formula. Repeat helpful responses. Notice what matters. Move your body. Protect your sleep. And stay connected. It's that simple. You are physically reshaping your brain every single day. The question isn't whether your brain is changing or not. The question is, what direction are your daily repetitions steering that change? Every time you repeat a response, you make it more automatic. Every time you focus your attention on something, you tell your brain that it matters. Every time you move, rest, or connect with someone, you alter the biological environment your mind operates in. No single action will magically transform you into a brand new person. One walk won't erase years of chronic stress. One good night of sleep won't cure severe burnout. One gratitude list won't make deep grief disappear. And one conversation won't solve total loneliness. But when these actions are repeated consistently, they generate brand new experiences. New experiences trigger new neural responses. Those responses slowly form patterns, and a pattern reinforced long enough will fundamentally change how you experience every ordinary day of your life. Happiness is not a static destination your brain reaches and stays at forever. It is the resilient capacity to notice the good without denying the bad, to return to equilibrium after a storm, to connect genuinely with others, and to find quiet meaning in an imperfect life. You don't need to control every passing thought, and you don't need to force yourself to feel good all the time. You just need to become far more intentional about what you are practicing. Out of these 5 laws, which one are you neglecting the most right now? Repetition, attention, movement, sleep, or connection? Drop the corresponding number in the comments below. Then, choose the smallest possible action to execute within the next 24 hours. Rehearse a balanced response. Write down a positive moment. Walk for 10 minutes. Go to bed slightly earlier, or call someone you trust. And if you enjoy simple, science-backed videos on psychology, neuroscience, and personal growth, make sure to subscribe. You don't rewire your brain with one massive, dramatic idea. You reshape it through the quiet experiences you repeat every single day. It's that simple.